The true leader of the X-Men, Cyclops, is the new duelist hero in Marvel Rivals Season 8.5, and it's been a while since we've had such a beautifully simple character. Scott Summers is a hit scan hero with surprising mobility, and while most people will be able to pick up and play without much issue, the gap between casual and dedicated player will be infinite, and the true test of mastery comes down to how you use his powers in combination with your team composition and the map itself. Taking good position to maximize the influence of your lasers, using your movement tech to outplay opponents, and learning how to punch a hole in the enemy lines to lead your team to victory. So let's quickly discuss Cyclops' powers and abilities, how to combine them, and some techniques you should practice to maximize your gains with the new duelist hero. My personal favorite hero in the Marvel Pantheon. Now, Cyclops will undoubtedly be one of the most prominent poke characters in the game. He's a hit scan on the power level of Phoenix and Hela, but while they trump him in terms of escape and stun potential, he more than makes up for it in terms of frontline damage and movement. He can headshot, by the way, and with just 2 headshots, he's going to take down a 275 character. Note, he is a 275, so he's a little bit tougher than your average bear. I want to show you his numbers against a 250. If you hit 3 body shot, they will be just below the limb range, and you can get him with 1 melee. Knowing the thresholds is going to be super important for Cyclops, because with hit scan heroes like this, you know when you can actually turn away and start prioritizing another target. The less time you spend guessing in that instance, the more effectiveness uptime you're going to have for your team. And note the fire rate on his laser. There's really no melee weaving involved here. Super fast time between projectiles. Only 8 rounds though. He has to reload his eyeballs, believe it or not. But the sauce of Cyclops is that he has a variety of eye lasers, and it's going to be kind of hard to tell what people are doing from their gameplay. So on the alternate fire, he does a continuous beam. And this continuous beam can bridge between enemies, and it actually increases the distance at which it can do hits. But look at this meter on the right of Cyclops. That is actually controlling your laser, and in fact, there's no way to actually see how fast it goes down when you're missing, and it actually goes down faster when you refract it, but there's no way to charge it up. None of my other cooldowns are going to make this charge up faster. And in fact, it doesn't stop the cooldown either, so it's just a completely neutral attack to have. And you want to be mixing it up whenever possible. It's kind of like a Moon Knight style attack. That's the way to think of it. Though the dispersion actually does less damage to the enemies it refracts to. With a fresh set of enemies, let's hit it for like 2 seconds. And you can see, got him below half health. Only did like a quarter of health to the second target, so it's a lot more controlled than Moon Knight. It's not as broken as Moon Knight's group damage. A bit of a tip here, there is a maximum range on this alternate fire, but if you ricochet it off the ground, it actually gets more range. And I think it's just a simple doubling. With the reflection, it gets a secondary range, boom, and then it can reflect into the third target. But you'll notice it's doing the same amount of damage to those 2. So it hitting the ground neutralizes that first target damage bonus, and every target after that takes the same amount of damage per second. Now those are just his basic attacks. Like we said, it's about knowing the map, taking good positions, and that all comes down to his B ability, his primary movement ability, which is to go upward. This is going to allow you to take high grounds on people, get easier headshots, boom, boom, take them out of the game. And then it'll also give you better angles to do your laser reflections. I believe this is called the concussive blast, so I'll just call this concussion. More concussion reflections here, more effectiveness. You do want to be trying to hit them from the high ground. This is the same principle that Phoenix and Hela share, they just do it in different ways. I think the difference being that Cyclops is less a flank and more of a front line. He just doesn't have the speed, he doesn't have the all-out mobility and stealthiness that those 2 heroes have. Which suits his character though, that's definitely what he's about. His secondary movement, it's more of an escape. They stole this from the animated show. This is something he did not used to do, so this blew everyone's mind when they saw it in the trailer. Let's hit it real quick. And it's just an infinite range beam that actually pushes your body back. If you jump in the air, you'll have a bit more mobility when you do it, and you can stop the power whenever you want, by the way. So this is really going to be used to escape from dive characters, maybe to get a reposition if you find yourself too deep in the brawl, because he's definitely not a brawl character. But you also could be combining this with the launch powers. Say you hit one of these, now you're in the air, and you're all the way back here. Look at the amount of distance Cyclops can cover. I never thought of Cyclops as a mobility-based hero, but you know what? In Marvel Rivals, I guess I'll take it. There's some sort of anime ninja flair in this game, right? And talking about combining movements, how could I forget the most important property of his Concussion Blast? It can actually keep you off the floor. Now, notice it's only gonna be when you come from a height, because it's a bit of a glide. It's not a true flight. Now I'm floating! Did you think Cyclops is taking Angel's archetype, isn't he? My god, what are they gonna even do with that hero? And keep in mind with these two movement abilities, if the enemy is actually next to the blast, they'll get a slow effect on them. It's pretty short, but that slow effect is actually enough to cancel cooldowns of heroes like Daredevil, Wolverine, Iron Fist. Iron Fist has kind of crawled his way out of the mud into the mid-tier lately. Final power to discuss is his Ricochet Blast, and it operates similar to the Concussion, but it's actually going to go in all the enemies, and I actually wanted to keep them fresh, that way we could get a good damage number here. Boom. So it's like a solid third, a little bit less than a third on a 250 character, but it spreads out universal. And this is where knowing your numbers, knowing your thresholds is what allows you to combine your lasers into optimal combos. And I say combos jokingly because, like, what kind of combos do you have with 3 different attacks? Well, it's just the numbers they do. Hit headshot, headshot. So knowing that, I could just hit Concussion and he will die instantly. I don't have to waste my regular ammo on that guy. Or maybe I'm just like, boom, hit lasers, Concussion. And pay attention to Cyclops' health when he hits this ricochet shot, too. Boom, 300, a tiny bit of overcharge. And if he hits the second, 325. But because the cooldown is kind of long, all his cooldowns are a bit long, really, in the 8 to 10 second range. You're not going to get more than 325. This is really just going to help you in the pit. I doubt you'll actually use it as overshield, more as temporary healing. I forgot to mention with his primary fire, so I'll mention it here because this applies to his ultimate. The concussive blast, these little optic things, they do 2 stages of damage. One is an explosive stage. So there is the possibility that they could get healed between the 2 stages and survive. I guess that's the saving grace. He does not hit all the damages at once. Very similar to how Phoenix has to build up the explosion meter. That's why you get 2 damage markers right there, the quick dee-dee. I mean, I'm far from developing optimal combos with Cyclops, but therein lies the skill gap, right? Managing your cooldowns and knowing which ones to hit at which time. Check in his ultimate, though. This is the Aura Farm, and it's actually very simple. It's 1 blast in a line with a secondary explosion afterward, just massive damage. And know that this destroys physical barriers in your way, this destroys walls, this will take out a lot of summons in 1 to 2 hits. And it can actually cancel a couple of the support ults, not Nepo Baby Luna Snow, though. He loses to Nepo Baby Luna Snow. Ult to ult. But let's see this thing. 1, 2. And the secondary effect, we'll have to go test it on a tank to see how much damage that really is, but definitely sweeping the 250 heroes in 1 blow. Galactobot Ultra. Ooh, that is massive damage. Not quite enough to take it out. If this is 500 or 600, that's pretty impressive. If this is 700, that's quite impressive. Tell me in the comments, how much health does this bot have right here? Also note that he sprays the beam up, so pay attention to this above me as I hit the ults, because that also creates explosions, and I think this is a technique that's really going to help you as well. If you're fighting people in a room, that means the floor explodes and the ceiling explodes, so you're actually getting 3 attacks in that same ultimate right there. 2 explosions, 1 primary blast. You could also combine this ultimate with your movement abilities, but you do kind of got to be quick about it. Boom, boom, boom. And it gives you a tiny bit of delay in the air. Just a bit of animation slow, but maybe that's enough to stop you from getting hit by like a thing ult. I'm thinking about the radial damage that hits on the floor, you know, like a devil dinosaur or something like that. These are the little things that matter when you're a character around the 250-300 health range, because you go from full health to dead pretty quick. But we also got to discuss his team up, because Wolverine leaves the team up with Phoenix and he gains arguably a better team up with Cyclops. Bros before hoes, right? Everyone thought Cyclops was gonna come in and just hang out with Phoenix and they're gonna throw Wolverine in the trash, but no. He actually gets something really cool. This is kind of a throwback to an old video game, isn't it? This is kind of an iconic thing that he does. And the cool thing about that power is that it actually has a super long lunge range. He can chase heroes in the air, and as long as you're like moving the camera with it, you will follow that hero that you're chasing. So I think these two are actually pretty deadly right now. You can have Wolverine in the thick battling the brawl, and the whole time you're back here blasting. If they really try to gang up on Wolverine, you hit the refraction beams, and if it gets too thick, of course you can just be in the air. Now for giggles, let's go ahead and combine all of his powers, all of his movement tech into an ultimate. Get off the floor, spin around, make sure I'm in position, and then hit an ult. Oh my god, this is... I did not think that Cyclops would play like this. I don't know what I was expecting, but it was definitely a less kinetic playstyle. But that's the 101 on the new duelist hero Cyclops in Marvel Rivals. Like I said, he's a beautifully simple hero, but there's going to be a huge skill gap of mastery because it's about how you apply these techniques dependent on the map, dependent on the team comps. So be sure to subscribe if this video taught you something, because I'll be doing more gameplay tutorials, more commentaries on this hero in the future. I'm going to be taking him into the depths of rank. This is truly my favorite hero in Marvel Rivals. I've been waiting for him for a long time, so I'm really going to be putting the gas on the rank ride, trying to see how far I can get with Cyclops. So be sure to like and subscribe and tell me your comments on the new season of Marvel Rivals.